Good morning, wrestling fans. Today is Thursday, February 2nd, 2023. I am Lance Brock. For today, it is an off Thursday for me, so a little earlier than normal. I'm at home today.
Hi.
There's Bruiser Brody.
What's up?
And there's Madison, too. A couple quick special appearances from Bruiser Brody and Madison there on this off Thursday. Hope everyone enjoyed AEW Dynamite last night. Hope everyone is ready for Impact Wrestling tonight. One thing I forgot to mention last night, or yesterday morning I should say, I was talking about Kota Ibushi now being a free agent after exiting New Japan Pro Wrestling. And another thing that I forgot to mention is that he has been announced for a date, and that is Game Changer Wrestling at the Collective WrestleMania weekend. And the first match announced that he will be participating in is a match against Speedball Mike Bailey. I first heard that, I got excited for that. That should be a very good match, I thought. But the only bad thing about it is that it's going to be on Josh Barnett's Bloodsport show that weekend. The reason I say the bad thing about that is because I'm not really a fan of the whole Bloodsport thing, because it's, instead of a regular pro wrestling show, it's kind of supposed to be more of an MMA show and like more an actual fighting show. Even though a couple weeks ago when they had the pit fight with Speedball Mike Bailey and Kenny King on Impact Wrestling, I did enjoy that, but that's because they did include some pro wrestling aspect into it. So I did enjoy that, and if Speedball and Ibushi kind of make it more pro wrestling instead of MMA, I'm sure I will enjoy that too. He's also been announced for Joey Janela's Spring Break. It has not been announced who he will be working on that show, but he will be a part of it. That's one thing that we do know as of right now. Also, that's going to be really good because Fight Plus will be having all the shows on the Collective on Fight Plus. So it's only $5 a month and you get every show included. So if you've thought about getting Fight Plus but you haven't decided just yet, kinda on the fence as they say, this is the time to check it out. And I'm pretty sure you won't be disappointed. You get a lot of great independent wrestling as a part of Fight Plus. So it is definitely worth checking out, especially coming up with WrestleMania weekend, the Collective. Not just that though, but all the GCW shows. Speaking of Fight Plus, I want to say this show is Saturday, but I'm not 100% about that. Is House of Glory will be holding a show that is a tribute to Jay Briscoe. The Briscoes were also, or are, I should say, the House of Glory Tag Team Champions. That will also be available on Fight Plus. Also, something else I should have mentioned last night on 360 Wrestling Fanatic when I was talking about Dynamite, it was announced that AEW will now be doing house shows, or at least for a limited time anyway, called sorry for the brief interruption there, House Rules Tour from AEW. So far, only one show has been announced, and that will be in Troy, Ohio, March 18th. No dates or cities have been announced just yet. Will be interesting to see how long they keep this going. Also, if this will be a good decision for AEW. Will they be able to draw good crowds, make good money on these house shows? I'm just thinking so far. I'm not sure the size of this arena in Troy, Ohio, but I'm guessing that they're not going to be in as big of arenas as they are for TV and pay-per-views. Kind of do smaller arenas, I'm guessing. But I'll have to kind of look up, see how big this arena in Troy is. Who knows, maybe here in Michigan we'll get a house show from AEW. I'm sure if you're a regular listener of 360 Wrestling Fanatic, you remember back in June I went to Blood and Guts when it was here in Detroit. Had a really good crowd, which I'm surprised that they haven't announced anything about coming back here to Detroit. And I remember Tony Khan coming out saying he wants to do a pay-per-view here, but he might say that in other places too. But there was a really good crowd, so I'm sure they will be back eventually. I don't know if it'll be for pay-per-view or not, or another episode of Dynamite. Because actually, Blood and Guts, it was a TV episode of Dynamite, but it was kind of built up like a pay-per-view almost. But also a house show, if they do bring one here, I don't know if they would do Little Caesars Arena, maybe a smaller venue if they do a house show. So that's remained to be seen. And one more thing, during the Royal Rumble last Saturday, Brock Lesnar, after he was eliminated, snapped at ringside, and apparently one of the things he did when he was wrecking the announce table, the steel steps, everything else there at ringside wasn't planned. And he attacked Baron Corbin as well, and then left through the crowd. And WWE wasn't too happy about that. And one of the referees that he tossed over the barricade apparently hurt his foot. And like I said, now it says that there is some heat on Lesnar after that. I guess you could call it a temper tantrum that he had at the Rumble. And also announced Royal Rumble, very successful financially, as Triple H announced at the press conference. The ticket revenue, the gate and everything was $7.7 million. The merchandise definitely made a lot of money, and it was the most money they made in ad revenue or sponsorship, things like that, in Royal Rumble history, which isn't a surprise. They had the whole deal with Mountain Dew, with the pitch black match, and then if you watched the press conference, it was all over the place. It was on the board in the background. They had the 20-ounce bottles on the table. Cody Rhodes sampled it real quick. So that's definitely not surprising. And also, one of the usual sponsors, Cricket Wireless, they had sponsoring the pay-per-view. And on the kickoff show, they showed where they're at the Alamo Dome. They had the Cricket Wireless Fan Center, I think it's called, where they even showed those screens they had set up. You could play WWE trivia, stuff like that. So definitely a lot of money made over Royal Rumble weekend. Definitely considered a success. And reading here on now is apparently Aaliyah is a little upset about her WWE absence. And she was injured last September. It says she's been trying hard to make a return to a ring, but so far we have not seen her on TV just yet. And she was tweeted by a fan about asking her to come back and asked her to do any shoot backstage, and she responded, "If only I was backstage." So don't know when we're gonna see Aaliyah back on our TV sets. Hopefully soon. I'm a fan of Aaliyah. She has improved. I know she was down in NXT for quite a while, but I remember watching her here, and I'm sure Michigan Indie fans remember her from her time as Jasmine. She came here quite a bit for Clash Wrestling. And her and Leah Von Dutch, Xander Bale had some good matches here for Clash. So hopefully we'll see her back on TV soon. But who knows? And tonight we have Impact Wrestling on Access TV, followed by New Japan Pro Wrestling. So that's all for this episode of Good Morning Wrestling fans. Thank you everyone for tuning in and listening to wherever you're listening, but the main site, Spreaker. As always, stay tuned for more episodes of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. We'll be back tomorrow morning for GMWF, probably at the usual time. I mean, we're not too far off from it today, but today was an off Thursday. So I'll talk to you tomorrow morning, or maybe later, who knows, if I decide to do another podcast. But until then, hope everyone has a great Thursday and keep watching pro wrestling.